The story takes place in the camp for children with psychic abilities, Whispering Rock Psychic Summer Camp. At night, 3 professional psychics, who are called Psychonauts, are given a lesson for children. Some children hear noises in the bushes, and then everybody starts panicking, thinking that it's a monster fish which steals children. Psychonauts use their superpowers to reveal who is hiding in the bushes. Turns out it's Razputin Aquato, the main protagonist of the game, a boy whose lifelong ambition is to become the next Psychonaut and save the world. After the lesson, children are sent to their beds. Razputin gets to know some of the children, who in fact develop different psychic abilities, and everybody falls asleep. Razputin sees a dream with an old man who teaches him how to spot local currency, how to increase the level, and obtain new skills. Also, he explains how to walk, breathe, and other basics. The point of this camp is to study all mental abilities and be able to dive into the human mind and perform a needed task. Heal a person or completely drive him mad. That's why professional psychics are called Psychonauts. Since the beginning of the game, Razputin already knows how to use powers, to fight and make a double jump. Also, he is very athletic and deft. To become a Psychonaut, Razputin needs to get 3 badges and prove his powers. The first class is given by Coach Oleander. It's called the Basic Braining course. There, Coach Oleander teaches how to dive into the brain and survive there. He opens a door in his mind and welcomes everybody to enjoy his mental world. As you can see, he is a military type of guy, so inside of his brain there is a real battlefield, or even war is going on. Inside, Razputin needs to learn everything he will be needed for future missions. At the first obstacle, Raz sees how the kid got killed, but in fact his astral projection was kicked out of the mind, so nobody dies there. Next, Razputin finds Coach Oleander's emotional baggage. They are some sort of collectibles to find and open concepts of these missions. Also, inside of every brain, Psychonauts can find vaults, which are deeply hidden memories. Oleander's memories are shame and pride. He wanted to become a soldier, but wasn't suitable enough, so he was kicked out of any possible forces. In the Pride Vault, he imagines himself being a hero, but probably these memories are false, as his limbs are longer and he is not a soldier. Additionally, there are a lot of fragments of imagination, figments, which can be collected and improve powers. The next obstacle is stupid, according to Bobby, a local bully, who after a small talk finds nothing else but push Razputin down off the bridge. Thanks to Lili Zanotto, Raz hasn't been kicked out of the brain, as she saved him with the telekinesis. In fact, she was saving a strange plant. Basically, through all the obstacle courses, Raz meets and sometimes helps campers and learn basics, many basics. After all, Raz finishes first, but there is nobody waiting for him. Looking to the right, he finds a passage to a wide corridor. At the end of it, he sees something hidden behind the curtains. When he tries to open it, Coach Oleander stops him and moves back to the podium. At first, Oleander is angry because he thinks that Razputin is up to something, but when Raz tells that he was trying to find the way out, Oleander calms down. Also, he is very surprised that Raz made it and made it so fast, so he grants him Razputin's first merit badge. After some flexing, Razputin is getting back to the real world. Bobby and his sidekick Benny are threatening Raz for making them look stupid, but Lili settles them down as Sasha 9 is standing behind them. Sasha is another Psychonaut agent who prepared a task for Raz: find his lab. After wandering around, visiting a camp house, a funny cellar there, Raz finally finds the way to the lab. As Sasha 9 is a scientist, he offers Raz to test his new experimental device, Brain Tumbler. This device allows entering one's self-mind and discover new powers. Razputin finds himself near a rundown gypsy caravan, but before going there, he sees a vault of his memories. Turns out that before the camp, he was a circus boy with his family. One day, he got the invitation to the Whispering Rock Psychic Summer Camp. Razputin's father wasn't happy with his choice and tore apart the invitation. Razputin wasn't happy with his father's choice, and late at night he escaped. That explains the physical abilities of Raz. After watching his memories, he steps into the caravan. He finds himself in the broken eggshell with a bunny staring at him. Sasha says that if Raz follows the bunny, it will lead him to something important. Raz agrees and follows the bunny's every step. After all, the running Raz sees a shadow with glowing eyes. Razputin starts panicking and asks for help, and a second later Sasha pulls a boy out of his mind. Sasha wonders why it had happened, as it wasn't supposed to be like that. Nevertheless, he is not ready to give up. He decides that the best solution is to get back and fight with green glowing eyes. But before that, Razputin should get a marksmanship badge from Agent Cruller. Razputin has to jump into the hole and travel to Agent Cruller's shelter. Fort Cruller is the leader of Psychic 6, the founders of Psychonauts. His full name is Fort Cruller, and yes, it's the same person who works in the shop. He also works as a janitor, a ranger, and many other professions. He changed his occupation and sometimes even forgets his psychic role due to mental instability that occurred after a devastating fight against another psychic supervillain Maligula. Because of that, he has to be near a Titanium, which is a psychoreactive mineral that crashed on a meteorite hundreds of years ago. This stone helps to control Fort Crawler's stability and improves the psychic abilities of everybody in a vast territory. Children can understand their abilities better, Psychonauts sharpen their skills, and even animals obtain superpowers, like telekinesis or pyromancy. Razputin respects Fort Cruller, as all his life he has been reading comics about Psychonauts. Fort Cruller sees Razputin's enthusiasm and dedication, and gives him a Marksmanship Learner's Merit Badge. It permits using another psychic ability, Psyblast, inside Sasha's brain. Mr. Nein opens the door in his mind, and the training is being started. Psychonaut teaches Razputin how to control his anger, fear, and feelings, and then release them. That's the secret of Psyblast. Sasha creates a tumbler with levels to practice Razputin's Psyblast. The tumbler spawns sensors, an integral part of any sane person that controls thoughts and banish wrong ideas and manias. Also, Sasha gives the last mission for us, to kill a small number of sensors, in total of 1000, and then he leaves the mind. As it usually happens, when the teacher gives a task and leaves the class, the best idea will be cheating. Razputin breaks the tumbler and releases all sensors at once. The inner piece of Sasha is tearing apart and releases powerful memories. While Raz is trying to solve the problem, he finds the vaults from which we see that Sasha lost his mother when he was a toddler. After death of the mother, his father was grieving, and Sasha decided to dive into father's brain and see his thoughts. All of them were only about his wife. His father was devastated. Sasha couldn't take it anymore and ran away from home. When all the sensors were beaten and sealed, Sasha came back and thanked Raz. However, Sasha specifies that if you control all your thoughts and desires, once it might explode into something like this. A big boss censors Sasha himself, so Mr. Nein is asking for help. Razputin fights the big guy, and when he is victorious, he gets another badge. Now Sasha is sure that Razputin can beat the big eye monster. Razputin dives into his mind and chases the rabbit again. Also, he sees strange meat flowers and steaks from Oleander's mind. He is surprised as he never liked meat so much. Razputin continues to chase the rabbit until the tower. There he hears a strange man speaking with Dogen, a boy from the camp who hears threats from rabbits about the end of the world. The strange man is a dentist who decides to take a brain out instead of teeth. Razputin promises to save Dogen, and also he finds a rather strange vault of the brain. The brain is born from the egg, and with the help of fish travels to the carnival. There, it and other brains destroy people with Psyblast. Sasha explains all of this with a cheap brain tumbler. In the middle of the way to the tower entrance, Razputin realizes that he cannot reach the top as he doesn't know the levitation. Sasha pulls Razputin back and orders to earn a levitation merit badge from another Psychonaut, Agent Vodello. In reward for hard work, Agent Fort Cruller teaches Razputin how to use telekinesis. It not only helps in many battles and puzzles, but also with controlling the boat. He needs to use a boat for two things. First of all, it's fun, and second, he cannot swim due to the fear of being drowned in water. The fear appeared because of an old gypsy curse about how everybody in Razputin's family is supposed to die in water. Razputin enjoys every second of his education and happily heads to the course. When he came to the lake bank, he met Lili. She She looks disappointed and says that she doesn't believe that Psychonauts are needed, as the world has changed, as well as times. Razputin disagrees and reminds her that there is a monster fish that steals children, so the world does need Psychonauts. Lili says aloud that Raz is immature and thinks that he is also cute, and she wants to kiss him. Razputin hears that and turns out he can read minds. Lili blushes and runs away ashamed. Raz meets Dogen, who is wandering around mumbling only one word: TV. Raz looks in his head and sees that it's empty. There is a draft and also no brain. Razputin understands that the nightmare was real. He takes a canoe from disguised Agent Cruller and sails to the levitation course. On the course he meets Lili again. This time she made a bracelet for us, which means friendship. He interrupts her and talks about a mad scientist who stole Dogen's brain. Lili confesses that she also saw this man in her dream and suggests meeting for debriefing tonight. Raz accepts the invitation and tells that it's cool. Lili copies that and compares it with the True Psychic Tales magazine. Razputin looks confused and she tells him shut up, but as you understand, they have a lot in common. Lili seals away and Razputin asks Mila to let him in her mind. Raz happens to be at the party, where Mila is a big star as she always dreamed to be. She explains how to use levitation. It's a mental bubble that helps to float in the air for some time and perform high jumps, as on a trampoline. The training course consists of many types of entertaining, but the culmination was the race against the campers and most importantly Bobby Filch, and of course Razputin won. Inside of Mila's mind, Raz finds the vault. Once she was a nurse, she looked after children, played the piano for them, read tales, cooked and loved them. One day there wasn't enough food, so she went to buy it, and when she came back she saw that the house was on fire. All her children burned down. Somehow she was able to manage her feelings and continue looking after children, but in a different way. After the levitation course, he gets back into the real world and Mila has a few words to talk about the progress of Raz. In their conversation, they also mention Dogen and his empty head. She claims that everything is fine with him, he is just like that. Raz travels in his mind and reaches the tower to float on the mental bubble to save Dogen. Weird dentist is pouring powder that makes Dogen sneeze. He sneezes out his brain and loses his sanity. The dentist throws the brain into the pipe to dispose of it. When Raz reached the top, he saw how the dentist left the room with Dogen and entered one with Lili in there. Mission Feed told Razputin to follow the Dogen's brain down the pipe, so he did. Down there, he sees the blueprint with the vehicle and Dogen's brain controlling it. Razputin has no idea what's happening, but approaches the blueprint and gets sucked into the draft. The question of who is stronger, a machine or a man, is answered, and Razputin is moved to the white hole of Oleander's mind, looking at the very same blueprint that had been hidden behind the curtains. The very next second, Sasha boards the mission and talks about an urgent mission connected with Psychonauts business. Sasha doesn't give a chance to Raz to explain himself and leaves the place. However, he left a very unique item, the door that allows entering a human mind. Agent Cruller appears from the ear of Razputin. That's the usual way he speaks with Raz. They discuss everything that have happened. Turns out Coach Oleander is obsessed with meat, so probably somehow addiction to meat mixed up with Razputin's mind. When Raz comes outside, it seems many hours have passed because it's night outside. It's about time to meet Lili. She says Mila left the camp due to official Psychonaut mission. Also, she managed to broadcast Oleander's dream all over the camp, and in fact, he is stealing children's brains for an unknown reason. Therefore, she and Raz have to save the world. She gets too excited and proposes Raz to make out. While she is speaking, something is throwing things out of the bushes, trying to attract kids' attention. And the only thing Lili notices except Raz is a flower. She takes it and a huge fish crawls out and grabs her. Raz is trying to stop the monster fish, but nothing seems to work. He looks hopeless as he cannot swim, and Agent Cruller gives him a hint to use the bathysphere. He jumps inside and dives down the waters. The monster fish is swimming around, waiting for the best chance to attack. Suddenly it starts to inhale. That's where humans' desire to pollute the environment comes in handy. When the fish starts inhaling, Raz breaks the boxes with nails, and they cut the monster. Anyway, don't pollute waters, kids. It harms the monster fish out there. It drives the monster crazy, and it chases Raz even more intensively. It's ready for a close fight. Thanks to shells around, they help to fight the monster. When it's fainted, Agent Cruller intercommunicates and thinks that Mr. Oleander experimented with the fish. He placed the implant to do evil things. Agent Cruller gives a mission to save the poor little thing, and Raz opens the door to get inside the fish brain. Fish people are minding their own business, everything is safe and sound. A real American fish dream. All of a sudden, Razputin is attacking the city. It screams, and by the look, it's ready to eat baby fish and bring distractions. On the road, Razputin finds the vault of the monster fish. Once, it was a usual lungfish, until the evil dentist caught the fish and implanted a chip in its mind to control it. Out of the blue, there is a fish resistance that is ready to help Razputin, as they don't like the current government captured by Kochomara, a malicious monster as big as Razputin, but he also brainwashed and enslaved every citizen. So Razputin agrees to help because he must save Lili. To help the resistance, he needs to destroy the radio signal and overthrow Kochomara. Slowly destroying the government, the resistance grants a new ability to Raz, as they don't know what to do with it. The ability is to create a shield used by Kochomara. At the very same moment, a broadcaster delivers news about Razputin is ready to destroy everything, and new defense forces are on their way, and also stealing human children is welcome. Helping the resistance is a fruitful alliance, as they help Raz to overcome all obstacles. For example, they moved ships to make the way for us to an island where a battle with Kochomara is going to happen. Kochomara is a living reference to martial arts movies or cartoon characters, where before every move they tell the name of these moves. That strategy makes Kochomara very predictable. Although he is a tough boss, the ability Raz learned helps to win. When the battle is over, Razputin climbs the tower to take down the source of the signal. Suddenly behind Razputin's back appears Kochomara again, and he is trying to ruin the plan. But Raz managed to dodge the hit, and Kochomara ruins the signal tower instead. He falls down on the ground and pronounces that he doesn't need to steal children's brains anymore.
I've got the brain of a little girl! What?
You've got the brain of a little girl?
Raz saves the people and the monster fish as well. It talks to Raz and it's grateful for saving its soul and body. Razputin asks the fish where it took Lili, and the fish brings Razputin to the island, which used to be an asylum. Also the creature tells its real name, Linda, and she is ready to help Raz travel across the lake anytime he needs. At the entrance there is a guard. He is drawing something on walls and shows all signs of paranoia, that somebody is watching over him. Unfortunately, he blocks the way. That's why Razputin needs to go inside guard's head and fight the problem. To complete the mission, Raz needs a cobweb duster. That's a device that cleans mental cobwebs. The only way to get it is to buy it in the shop from disguised Agent Cruller. So Razputin summons Linda to travel back to the camp. When Razputin runs through the village, he is attacked by wildcats with pyromancy. As I told before, because of Psychonauts, every living creature is affected by it. Also, there are no children in the camp, so Raz heads to the Fort Crawler's vault and sees that the agent was able to catch all campers, and all of them are brainless. And by the way, Agents Nein and Vodello received a mission by the Psychonaut department, which means that only Raz can save the day. The night. Razputin uses Linda's service again and enters the guard's head. His name is Boyd, and he is obsessed with the idea to find the milkman. Everything revolves around him, and he is the one who controls the world. Alas, Razputin can't see the truth, according to the guard. He gives Raz a psychic merit badge to gain a new power, clairvoyance. Now Raz can see the world as others see it. He uses the ability on Boyd, and it gets clear that the milkman is dead, according to the media. But that's what the media would have you believe. Boyd gives a mission to go to the graveyard and dig up the mailman. Outside his house, Razputin sees the inner world of the guard. It's nice and normal, where everything and everybody is spying on each other. There are totally normal workers on the street, on the graveyard and everywhere. In fact, they are G-men. Also, Raz sees small girls on the street who see Raz as a thief of milk. Razputin must disguise as a needed type of workers to get through and avoid catching by these polite gentlemen. To make it successfully, he needs to find a piece of equipment of these people and just go through, as they won't find anything suspicious. First, he finds a stop sign to disguise as a road crew. Then he reaches the post office and somehow he needs to get inside. Razputin enters the wrong password to oblige a postman to go outside and enter the right number to deactivate the alarm. Raz uses clairvoyance on the postman and sees the right password. Isn't it cool? The whole world of the guard is incredibly creative. Inside the post office, he finds a plunger for sewer workers and flowers in the park for the graveyard. Raz heads to grieve on graves and breaks into mausoleum. There is a book he grabs and immediately gets spotted by grieving sisters and widows. Later, Razputin wakes wakes up in Boyd's house. Now the guard sees the whole idea. The book opened his eyes. G-Men are trying to find and remove the milkman forever. He also suggests Russ visiting the book depository and gives a sniper rifle. Don't ask why. Okay, because there are a lot of assassins around the book depository, and Russ needs to look like them. There is another obstacle. Somebody is aiming at Russ from the window, so Russ uses the shield, and while the sniper is reloading, he runs to the building. Inside he sees that the sniper was one of the girls from the neighborhood. That's what happens with children in gangs, and she is in a gang of rainbow squirts. Turns out she knows the location of the milkman, but she doesn't want to tell it, and jumps out of the window, sacrificing herself to eliminate a few spies. Razputin confusingly scratches his head and realizes he needs a better look in the neighborhood to get the whole picture. He finds a helmet of the helicopters that are flying around, but it doesn't work. So he uses clairvoyance and sees an island with a house under which the milkman is entombed. After that, he hears the sound of a ringing phone. The speaker is Boyd. He warns Russ to be careful about the lady who is tossing cookies. Russ hangs up the phone and takes the handset to go through the radio tower crew that guards the way to the house of the milkman. Razputin reaches the house but cannot enter there, because the very first second the girl sees Russ, she closes the door. Thanks to psychic abilities, Russ can become invincible now, so he sneaks through the door. Inside the house he finds the shelter for girls and the weird lady inside. While she is telling Russ about a sacred mission to protect the milkman, spies and sensors are surrounding the building. The enemies are attacking the house and the girls step forward to protect the milkman, while the lady is fleeing to the secret passage. Razputin follows her and sees the milkman. The woman appears behind Rasputin's back and starts to attack. But anyway, she has no chance. Clairvoyance and telekinesis help to beat her. The milkman, who looks exactly like Boyd, opens his eyes and flies in the sky with Russ following. The milkman sees unconscious bodies around and more sensors arriving. He is preparing to fight and takes a Molotov milkshake to fight back. He destroys everybody single-handedly, knocking out Razputin too. While Razputin is unconscious, I'd like to tell a few words about the vaults. Once, Boyd was a guard in the department store. An accident happened and he was fired in disgrace. But he decided to revenge. He gathered milk bottles, made Molotov cocktails, and burned down the department store he had been working in. After that, he was committed to the asylum. Some time passed. Boyd met Mr. Oleander, who poured milk and hypnotized him with cookies. And then Oleander hired Boyd to guard the entrance to the asylum. When Razputin woke up, he saw Boyd holding a pack of Molotov cocktails. The guard opened the gate to the asylum and went to the entrance of the asylum itself, but stood shaking in hesitation. All over the asylum, Razputin finds bottles with brains, and these brains belong to the camp children. When Razputin looks up, he realizes that the tower was in nightmares with Dogen and the evil dentist. That's how Russ realizes that he is on the right way. He goes to the top the same way he did in the nightmare. The only trouble is a blind guard, and getting inside his head won't work, as he has a mental protection from the dentist. So this time, Razputin must find a new solution. In fact, this blind guard is not completely blind, and he sees that Rasputin's silhouette is not the dentist's one. Russ needs to disguise as the dentist. For that, he travels to the minds of patients around the place and collects items for his low-budget cosplay. He goes to the fallen star actress, Gloria, and saves her against the Phantom of the Opera and a cruel critic, all in one. After restoring her sanity, he gets an award that looks like an arm of the dentist. Then he goes to the mind of Fred Bonaparte, who is a descendant of Napoleon Bonaparte. Fred tried to socialize with an insane patient Crispin Whitehead, the guard who is standing near the elevator. And after many tries and many lost games in chess against Crispin, Fred Bonaparte lost his mind and couldn't accept the fact that his ancestor was a great commander, but he cannot even beat a crazy opponent. Razputin stops an endless fight against the remorse inside Mr. Bonaparte's head and gets his straight jacket, which looks like a white coat. And the last patient is a brilliant artist, Edgar, who lost his head over a girl who didn't love him. Razputin showed him that the girl was an airhead and wasn't worth spending time for. He helped Russ to draw the painting of the dentist to get through the Crispin Whitehead. Low-budget cosplay is finished. Razputin goes up on the elevator and sees a huge building, much bigger than in his nightmare. Step by step and jump by jump, Russ slowly reaches the top, with a small girl, I don't know how old she is, with a small lady following. She is warning Raz that if he makes one more step, he will regret it. When the way is clear, Raz reaches the top and sees a fighting between the dentist, whose name in fact is Caligosta Loboto, and the girl's name is Shigar. Dr. Loboto complains that the brains of children are worthless as they cannot fight as Dr. Loboto wants them to. He threatens Shigar to get the brain that can fight, that is angry enough to battle, and if she doesn't do it, he will cook her lovely turtle. Shigar screams and runs to the another section of the observation. Razputin gets behind Dr. Loboto's back and sees that on the shelf there are brains of Agents Nein and Vodello. He cannot easily use his powers, as Dr. Loboto is a very powerful psychic who protected himself with a shield. Razputin turns around and runs to Shigar to speak with her. Razputin finds her in the room with brainless Sasha and Mila, and Lili is there too, and she has a brain. She says that Sasha and Mila were lured to the mission by Mr. Oleander, and she asks to retrieve their brains. Surprisingly, but Shigar wants to help. She has a plan to save Mr. Pokelope, her turtle, because he always has a plan. Sounds completely mad, but hey look, it's Psychonauts world, it's a usual routine there. It took a second to pull the turtle out, and when it's saved, he tells his plan.
That's right, baby. Daddy's here. Everything's gonna be alright.
Shigar brings the brain to Dr. Loboto, the brain that is angry enough and ready to fight. When the brain gets inside the shield, Razputin moves it to the tank, which is now controlled by Mr. Pokelope, and it shoots Dr. Loboto, who falls in the dark waters. Sasha, Mila and Mr. Pokelope restore their brains and release Lili. Sasha claims that Raz surprised everybody once again, and now he is promoted to the Psych Cadet. Alas, their victory doesn't last long, as Mr. Oleander is standing at the door, joyful that everything goes according to the plan, and now he will get the brain of Raz. But Razputin doesn't give up so easily. He blames Oleander for ruining his education, stealing the brains of children and his girlfriend. However, Mila stops Raz and levitates two kids out of the observation room to the asylum patients below, and Shigar successfully escapes with Mr. Pokelope. Meanwhile, Edgar is preparing to escape too and breaks the chains attached to the floor. And he breaks the floor too. Under it, he sees a gas pipe, but luckily the gas is off, so there is nothing to worry about. Gloria, before she leaves the place, sees ill-treated flowers and decides to turn on the valve to water it with gas. Friend Bonaparte is jumping out of the window to Boyd, who is still standing with the Molotov cocktail and waits for something. Other patients have a little talk and decide that it's high time to move on and leave the past behind. These words motivate Boyd to throw the cocktail and release his bad memories and cure his psyche. The mission of the milkman is complete. Raz and Lili landed on the ground, and after an awkward speech of Raz, they finally kiss each other. At the very same moment, Sasha and Mila are fighting against Oleander in a burning building. Agent Cruller arrives at the battle to help good Psychonauts and beat Oleander. He found a solution to travel outside the shelter by wearing a slab of titanium behind his back. Oleander tells that he is not a Psychonaut anymore because he built an army of tanks to take over the world. That was his final plan. Mr. Cruller uses the powder of Dr. Loboto to make Oleander sneeze his brain out and stop the fight. The very same second as Oleander sneezes, an explosion happens and the building is starting to collapse on Lili and Raz. The roof of the observation falls on their heads. Razputin managed to use the shield and save him and Lili. Survived Psychonauts appear near kids and praise Raz once again. He complains that it was his fight as he managed to beat Oleander once, but agents say that it was just a projection. Out of ruins they hear moans. Its brainless Oleander is wandering around. Everybody looks at that and walks away. However, Raz looks confused and feels the tremble of the ground beneath him. It's a tank with Oleander's brain operating it. Oleander shoots at agents and Lili and challenges Razputin to fight with no escape. Razputin is dodging cobblestones that are thrown at him, and he uses them as well to crack the glass where the brain is kept. Few more throws and the container is cracked open. Oleander's tank gives up and stands still. When Razputin is getting closer, sneezing powder gets on him. He cannot hold it and sneezes his brain out.
TV.
Now we can play for Razputin's brain. At first I don't know what to do and throw his brain around with telekinesis, and then I got it. I must throw it to the container near Oleander's brain. They start to swirl and their minds are interfusing. Raz opens his eyes and sees a boy with a rabbit behind him, the rabbit from the beginning, and the boy's name is Coach Oleander. Oleander feels unsafe as he thinks that his father found out about the happy meadow where Oleander tends to rest. A moment later he hears a dreadful laugh and hides in the caravan of Razputin. Raz jumps after Oleander. The world inside is completely messed up. It's a circus with kebabs, steaks and meat products everywhere. Looks like a vegetarian nightmare. Mori is trying to protect the bunny from his father as he runs a butcher shop. Suddenly appeared Thorny Cruller proves that fact and supposes that Raz and Oleander's childhood memories got mixed up. He also warns that Raz should keep Mori safe as everything that happens with Oleander happens with him too. Razputin is trying to protect the little boy against hideous meat monsters while performing unbelievable tricks. But that's not the worst thing. The entire route is haunted by the ghost which is calling Razputin's name. On his way, Raz finds the vault of a young Oleander, who plays with bunnies, and then his father comes to him, takes one bunny and cuts its head in front of a small Oleander. No wonder why Mori went out of his mind. Supposedly Mori can speak with animals, as he has the rare psychic ability of zoolingualism, like Dogen who spoke with squirrels. Probably that's why Mori has a strong bond with the rabbit. Small Oleander runs under another circus cover, where Raz sees the father of Mori, a gigantic ugly butcher from the worst nightmares. Maybe he didn't look like the way he's shown, as fear takes molehills for mountains. Nonetheless, he is dreadful. The goal of Raz is to wait for the right moment and punch the butcher's face. But in the end, the butcher throws Raz to another location with a small present after him. The present is opened, and Raz sees his father, who became green and looks like a zombie. He's blaming Raz for ruining the circus with his mental tricks. He also gives him a lesson of how to be a real circus boy with upcoming water below. Raz should go up as fast as he can, unless he wants to be taken by the water. His father calls him a cheater because he used his tricks, as he always does, telling him that he isn't his son. Razputin's father throws a thing to the cover and creates vertigo, drawing Raz in it. Razputin happens to be in the arena again, but this time the butcher and the father teamed up. Raz needs to throw flaming levers at the butcher's knee to make it possible to punch his face again. When the butcher is beaten and kicked down to the meat grinder, the ghost breaks through the wall of mental defense, and apparently it's Razputin's real father, Augustus Aquato. Raz is running to his father to hug him, but stops at the last second. Augustus asks many questions about people fainted near the tank. He is also shocked that Razputin sees him this way, a green, evil father who hates psychics. But Augustus cannot hate either psychics or Raz, as he used his own mental abilities to find his son, and he just wanted Raz to be safe and happy. When the illusionary father is trying to approach Raz, Augustus uses his Psyblast to strike the illusion down, the very same meat grinder. Now father and son are safe, and Augustus shares his plan to unweave Razputin's brain from Oleander's. Augustus is interrupted by an explosion of meat from the meat grinder, and fused zombie father and the butcher. They became the creature of two heads, many limbs, and one insane mind that also can juggle. To help, Augustus gives Raz new powers. Now Raz is empowered by father's might. He is floating, his limbs are getting bigger, and he can use mental abilities to become an astral giant compared to the butcher. Razputin is finally the same size and can kick ass. He could beat the face of the creature and weaken it. The world is starting to spin around, stretching on the horizon. Raz and Augustus are trying to avoid the sucking, running backward. But in the end, they fall into the void. Razputin wakes up screaming about meat and bunnies after the nightmare near his father, and Augustus calms him down. Now everything is safe and sound. Mori is thanking guys for saving his bunny and disappears. Leaving the mind, Augustus and Raz can't wait to tell each other about stuff that happened. Mr. Oleander is standing on the podium, explaining how his inner demons have been eradicated. He says sorry many times more, and said he learned many things in this educational camp. Agent Cruller gives a speech about all children in the camp. All of them are special. But Razputin is the one whose heart, and not only the mind, is making him special. After all, he offers Raz to become a Psychonaut. Raz takes the final badge of a professional agent. All children are running to their parents. Raz and Lili are discussing their emotions after the camp, and Lili claims it's her best summer. Razputin wants to hang out a few weeks more with Lili, but their families live in very different places. They both feel sorry and kiss each other. The romantic moment is interrupted by Sasha, who is telling that there has been another kidnapping, and it's not Mr. Oleander, everybody saw him. A father of Lili has been kidnapped. He is a member of Psychic 6. Sasha, Mila, Maury, Lili and Raz are asking for Cruller to teleport them, but he is lost in the depths of his mind, thinking he is a chef in the kitchen. So Psychics take a jet. Raz asks his father for permission, and he doesn't object, as he taught Raz everything he knew. Agents levitate to the jet and fly away. But it's not the end. Soon will be Psychonauts 2, and I'm going to explain it as well. My name is Bill Bones, thanks for watching, subscribe, give a like, and see you in the next video. Bye!